This is Virginia Brewery releases beer inspired by vulgar complaint from disgruntled maskless customer. Said the brewer, "We made this beer mostly out of a deep, abiding pettiness." Well said. So this is out of Beale's Brewery in Bedford, Virginia. They have released a new porter, and this is the third beer in their series devoted to angry and rude customers and their rude behavior over the brewery's decisions to abide by the state's mask mandate there. The name of this brew, Your Manager is a Bitch, and it features a picture of the manager in question, Brittany Canterbury, who started as a server, worked her way up to bartender, is now manager of the tap room for the brewery. So she's been there a long time, and she knows how horrible people can be. So the story goes that a customer came in November and was not happy when Brittany asked this person to wear their mask when they were doing whatever they needed to follow the state mandate in Virginia. Made a bit of a scene at the brewery. And once home, this swole keyboard warrior took to the power of the internet to fire off an email to the brewery letting them know exactly how they felt. The brewery decided to take that email as inspiration for this beer. They even put the complete email on the back of the can for everyone to enjoy. The subject line, "Y'all suck." The message, "Your manager's a bitch and your beer tastes like a hot old orange juice." No punctuation, by the way. The rest of the can contains a message from the brewer that I did want to share with you because I think it captures the sentiment of so many people out there. And I quote, "This beer is a love letter to all the service industry workers who, despite a global pandemic, endeavor each day to provide a self-welcoming environment for their guests. While we can't prevent the verbal abuse from the small fraction of customers who refuse to acknowledge our humanity, we will continue to call out and stand with you. P.S. This beer does not taste like hot old orange juice. It actually will remind you of a pecan pie with notes of caramelized sugar and warm toasted pecans." So, needless to say, the response has been overwhelmingly positive to the brewery and their response and their efforts to follow the state mandates and work to keep their employees, their customers, and their business alive and well. They did also put a press release out because this has gone quite viral. And one note of the press release I wanted to let you read to you. This ultimately isn't about COVID deniers or opinions about mask wearing. It's about honoring people's fundamental dignity and humanity and pushing back against the tired, outdated maximum that the customer is always right. As restaurants have fought to survive the pandemic, we've also been fighting to keep our staff safe and supported from inconsiderate and abusive customers. So, huge cheers to Beale's Brewery for doing this. I think it's great. When I first saw the article, I thought, oh, God, this is going to be, like they're going to call out a Karen and turn it into a whole thing. But I think they did a really good job of this. Happy that they stood up for their employee. And I really wish I could get my hands on this beer. You're muted, Jeff Solomon.
Son of a gun. I'm wondering, and I see our friend Lori in the chat, and she makes wine. And I was thinking about the time that I had to deal with a not so flattering comment from some guy named Mike R. Antis on Facebook who commented that my teeth were purple. I did a whole rant. I believe it was episode 7. Go back if it's not that. Download episodes 1 through 20. It's in there somewhere. I believe it's titled The Wrath of Solomon. So let me tell you something. Right now, Lori of Dracaena Wines, delicious wines, weelikerdrinking.com/wine. I expect you to make a wine label with my face on it with a quote that says, "I like how his teeth are purple." And then on the back, it's me flipping off some guy named Mike R. Antis. Fuck you, bro. I never forget. I'm petty. I don't ever let grudges go. Now, going back to this asshole that goes into an establishment that, regardless of how they feel, they're following certain regulations in order to stay open at a fraction of the capacity that they were allowed to be before. Small businesses are struggling right now. And if somebody's going to walk into a business and make it their mission to just be a fucking asshole, not like pandemic be damned, right? Because that's a whole nother thing. What you're saying about everybody around you, you don't give a fuck about anybody. Well, guess what? We don't give a fuck about you. But I'm really glad that this brewery is sticking up for their employees. I think most any of us that have ever worked, whether it's in food service, in customer service, in retail, we've all had to deal with something like that. And the reality is, the adage of the customer is always right should really have an addendum. The customer is always right if you want to keep taking their money. However, a customer who is abusive, I don't want their business. And if they're feeling like they're going to follow up their in-person assholiness with a letter in which they refer to the manager as a bitch, fuck you. And by the way, look, I slip and I say bitch sometime. But if you ever hear me refer to a woman as a bitch out of anger, call me on that. Fucking don't expect me to stick up for that type of oppressive language against somebody else. That's bullshit. And so I'm really glad that the brewery is sticking up for that. And if you're an angry customer, fuck off, dude. Play nice. And fuck you. I think the title of the beer should actually be "Fuck You," and that should be it. But yeah.
No, I
kudos to the brewery.
I appreciate that they made it about standing up for her and not attacking the other guy or the person.
John, they should.
John, you live in this world. What are your thoughts on this?
So quickly, the fun that the manager's having on the picture they took of her is phenomenal.
Yeah. It is,
and just joy in her face. And
yes,
probably,
as a matter of fact, here. Yeah, go ahead.
I am a little taken aback. So I have two thoughts on this. So I'm a little taken aback that they put his entire email in the back, because it seems like that would be kind of encouraging this kind of behavior again. Hey, if I go in and act like an asshole, they'll name a beer after me.
He has been banned for life.
Well, that's fine, but that won't stop another person from going in and being an asshole and having have a beer named after him. But here's the thing, and I'm going to dovetail onto Solomon's comments about, the customer always being right only if you want to keep taking their money. In the alcohol industry, in the alcohol service industry, this is counterintuitive that kicking people out of your bar, it actually helps your business.
Mm-hmm.
There are problem customers tend to be people that are regulars for a while, and they build up some sort of familiarity, and they feel like they're doing you a favor by coming there and drinking their limit of beers and talking like a jerk, and then it turns people off. And eventually you just have to 86 them because they're actually driving people away.
That's right.
And so it's counterintuitive, but booting people out of your establishment if you serve alcohol is actually good for business.
Absolutely. And it shows that you're responsible as well.
It shows you're responsible, but word gets around to say, look, Lizardtail, they're not putting up with any bullshit. And I hate to say it, it's usually guys that are kind of rude to single women that come in and just want to be left alone and drink a beer and talk amongst themselves. And, guys made lewd comments, and that's a one and done in our place. If you do that kind of crap, you're out and you don't come back.
And
because it's hard enough to attract women into craft breweries in the first place because of that exact same reason. Because people are drinking alcohol and some jerk feels like he's got to make a scene about being the big guy and he can talk to women, and when they have no clue, and it's just, oh man, it's something that really puts a burr in my saddle, man. I just hate that stuff. Yep. So yeah, you got to nip that shit in the bud, and we do, and just, dude, you're out.
Yep. Yeah, and this has been a horrible year. Like, this year has sucked, and that's not even getting close to how this year has been. But I'll tell you this: every time I've gone to pick up food, every time I've gone to a bar to get a drink, a restaurant, or anything else, the people that have been serving me have been the most pleasant, gracious, nicest people, friendly, living with a mask on, working their butts off with masks on, and they have gone out of their way to provide a great experience in terrible times. And for people out there to feel so freaking entitled that they feel like they are the most important person and they can derail an entire establishment because a business is trying to stay open by following the rules. That is beyond disgusting, selfish, and entitled. And troll doesn't even begin to describe what you are if you think that's the way that you should be behaving.
Yeah.
You look like you want to say something, Jeff.
I was going to say that person is actually one of the devices we were talking about right before we started the show.
Your mama didn't give you any home training.
Yeah, I mean, I and John, thank you for bringing that up. I hope that more alcohol service places understand that idea of like, yeah, you need to kick some mofos out, because, dude, and really, it's, I find myself, like, back in the day, there were certain places I wouldn't take my Kara when I was dating her. I wouldn't take her to certain places because I didn't want to deal with the riffraff there, So it's it's everybody fucking calm the fuck down, dude.
Calm down. Treat your servers. Treat
people.
Treat people. There's this thing where people say that somebody has to earn your respect. Like, I don't respect you until I earn your respect. Fuck you. You give people respect until they lose your respect. And so you treat everybody you meet with respect unless they do something where they don't deserve it. You are not better than anyone else on this planet. But there are people that are better than you. I can guarantee it. So don't be a dick. Treat each other with respect. And now John wants to talk to us about a beer park.
I do. Wow, excellent segue there, Eccles.
No, is there anything else on
Hey
that?
Man, right? Respect is earned and not given. Also, I learned from reality TV that I will forgive, but I will never forget. And also, you, sir, are here for the wrong reasons. Okay. And do not take my kindness for weakness.
What are you talking about?
And other bullshit cliches that doofuses say, like the people who think that respect is something to be earned. No, respect is something that you just give to everybody because you're a good person, because you're following the Kantian epistemology of doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Aw, thanks, Chelsea. Chelsea says, nice people like you guys are the reason we even still go to work.
Eccles ain't that nice.
Hey, I hide down in the brewery. I don't mix with the public.